Language allowed your ancestors to groom multiple people simultaneously. When you sit around a table and tell a funny story, you are triggering endorphins in 5 people at the exact same second. You are building social trust while your hands are completely free to cook food, craft tools, or watch the perimeter for danger. Robin Dunbar and linguistic researchers argue that human language did not primarily evolve to discuss abstract philosophy or describe hunting coordinates. It evolved as social maintenance. It was prehistoric gossip. It was the tool that allowed human tribes to expand from troops of 50 up to cohesive communities of 150. For hundreds of thousands of years, this biological system worked in absolute harmony with the environment. You lived in a village of 150 people. You knew everyone. Everyone knew you. Your daily interactions perfectly matched the physical capacity of your neocortex. Then, in the span of a single generation, your world exploded. You entered the digital era. You created accounts that connect you to thousands of individuals across the globe. You open feeds where hundreds of updates, opinions, and emotional outbursts wash over your retina every single hour. Your phone vibrates constantly with inputs from people you have never met and will never touch. How is your ancient primate brain handling the sudden deluge? The harsh truth is that your brain has not upgraded its hardware. Your neocortex is the exact same size as the neocortex of a hunter-gatherer sitting around a fire 50,000 years ago. When you scroll through hundreds of posts on social media, your brain attempts to process those inputs as real social signals. It attempts to track status, monitor threats, and evaluate reciprocal value for thousands of individuals simultaneously. The result is profound cognitive fatigue. Social scientists have documented a modern epidemic of digital exhaustion and social burnout. You feel overwhelmed by the demands of maintaining dozens of superficial digital threads. Even worse, you fall prey to parasocial relationships. When you watch a content creator or follow an influencer daily, your brain registers their face, their voice, and their personal stories. Because your ancient neurobiology never evolved in a world with cameras or screens, your brain genuinely believes this creator is a member of your physical tribe. You assign them a slot in your 50-person or 15-person emotional circle. Yet that relationship is entirely one-sided. That creator does not know your name. They cannot hold your hand during an emergency. They cannot groom your emotional state when you feel isolated. By granting valuable slots in your limited social budget to digital phantoms, you starve the real physical human beings sitting right in front of you. Researchers Peter Kilworth and H. Russell Bernard spent decades studying social network scales and human memory decay. Their findings confirmed that when humans attempt to spread their social energy across thousands of loose ties, the depth of their core support network degrades rapidly. You end up with thousands of digital connections, but 0 people to help you move apartments on a rainy Sunday morning. Is it any wonder that modern societies report the highest rates of loneliness in recorded history, despite being the most connected civilization to ever exist? You cannot defeat evolutionary biology with software. You cannot expand the physical limits of your neocortex through willpower or better organizational apps. The solution is not to delete your technology or retreat into a cave in the woods. The solution is conscious social pruning. Look at your life through the lens of Dunbar's number. Acknowledge that you only have 5 slots for deep vulnerability. Acknowledge that you only have 15 slots for profound sympathy and 50 slots for genuine friendship. Once you accept this mathematical boundary, the pressure to maintain an enormous, performative digital presence falls away. You can stop worrying about the opinions of hundreds of digital strangers who will never sit around your fire. You can stop feeling guilty for losing touch with people who naturally drifted past your 150 horizon. You can redirect your precious, finite emotional energy back to where it belongs. Invest your time in physical presence. Share meals that trigger real endorphins. Have deep, unhurried conversations that mirror the vocal grooming of your ancient ancestors. Tend to your core 15 with ferocious intentionality. Your skull does not hold an infinite universe of human connection. It holds a small, warm, resilient circle shaped by millions of years of evolution. The next time you scroll through hundreds of contacts saved in your phone, remember the ancient limit built into your skull. Right now, you probably have hundreds of contacts saved in your phone. You have followers, friends, and group chats scattered across 5 different digital platforms. You might feel like your social circle is expanding with every passing month, but the real answer is far stranger. Your skull houses a biological ceiling you can never truly break. Your brain can only handle about 150 real human connections. Look at your screen. You see endless notifications. You see faces, messages, and updates from people you have not spoken to in years. Yet, how many of those people actually exist inside your emotional world? If you had an emergency at 3 in the morning, how many would pick up the phone? Why does your modern social life feel so massive, yet simultaneously so shallow? The explanation begins inside your neocortex. That is the wrinkled outer layer of your brain, responsible for conscious thought, language, and spatial reasoning. It is also your social supercomputer. In the early 1990s, an evolutionary anthropologist at the University of Oxford named Robin Dunbar noticed a strange mathematical pattern across primates. He looked at chimpanzees, baboons, macaques, and dozens of other species. He measured the volume of their neocortex relative to the rest of their brain. Then, he counted the average size of their social groups in the wild. The data revealed a startlingly straight line. Smaller brains meant tiny troops. Larger brains meant larger troops. Primates with small neocortex ratios lived in groups of 10 or 20. Primates with larger neocortex ratios lived in groups of 50 or 60. The math was consistent across every single primate species on the planet. Why would brain size dictate social size? The reason comes down to computational overload. Maintaining a relationship is not simply about remembering a single person. You must remember their personality. You must remember their past favors and their ancient betrayals. You must track who is allied with whom, who hates whom, and who holds power inside the hierarchy. When a group grows from 5 individuals to 6, you do not just add one new relationship. You add dozens of potential third-party interactions. Consider the brutal mathematics of your brain. In a group of 5 individuals, there are 10 distinct pairwise relationships to monitor. In a group of 20, there are 190 relationships. In a group of 150, there are 11,175 distinct relationships. Every single person in that network is interacting with every other person. Your brain must calculate trust, reciprocity, obligation, and status across every single thread. Can you imagine the sheer processing power required to keep those threads from snapping? When Robin Dunbar plugged the human neocortex volume into his primate equation, the math produced a specific number. The formula predicted that the natural group size for humans was roughly 148. Over the years, science rounded this figure to 150. It became known worldwide as Dunbar's number. At first, skeptics thought this number was just an abstract laboratory curiosity. Surely modern humans, with agriculture, cities, and technology, could build communities of thousands or millions. But when anthropologists and historians dug through human history, they found the number 150 appearing everywhere. It was carved into the fabric of human survival across thousands of years. Look at hunter-gatherer societies. For hundreds of thousands of years, your ancestors roamed the savanna in distinct nomadic bands. Anthropologist Christopher Boehm studied traditional foraging societies across multiple continents. Whenever a foraging band grew larger than 150 individuals, something fascinating happened. The group did not simply build a bigger campsite. The group split in half. Why would a thriving tribe tear itself apart? Without formal courts, written laws, police forces, or digital databases, social order relies entirely on peer pressure and personal reputation. You behave because everyone knows your name. You share food because everyone remembers your generosity. When a community exceeds 150 members, strangers start slipping into the cracks. People stop recognizing every face around the evening fire. Trust begins to decay. Factions form, arguments explode, and the group fractures into 2 smaller bands of 75. This was not a coincidence of ancient survival. It was a biological limit that persisted straight into modern civilizations.